Hello everyone. On today's video we are going to review a very easy setup, a moving average crossover, and which are the steps that we need to take into account to fine-tune this setup. On this setup we are watching a Dow Jones chart, and we always look for a fast moving average and a slow moving average. I usually start with a 50 for the fast and 100 for the slow. This may result in a slow setup for this example. And what we are looking for are those crosses. This is a short, this is a long, this is a short and a long. When those signals happens, the price is located at the close of that bar. On this cross we may get a fill near here, and for this other short we are around here. On this crossover to the upside we have an entry on the close of that bar. To optimize those settings we need to find the best working moving average, the best period for both. For example, if we go to a fast setup, an 8 for the fast and a 17 for the slow, now we have a short here, a long here. This short may have a fill at the close of the bar. On this crossover the price is here at the close of that bar, and we have a crossover here with a possible entry at the close of that bar. There are no crossovers here, and we have a crossover to the upside here with an entry at the close, and on this place we have a short crossover and an upside crossover with an entry at the close of the bar. This may be possible a loser, but all of the others, maybe this one we need a big stop. This may be a loser also. Let's try with something not so fast, like for example 34 for the fast and a 50 for the slow. It is possible that we get an area like this one, where we get a small crossover to the upside and then a small crossover to the downside, which are not really a crossover because the separation is not big enough. There are several ways to avoid that problem. To understand how to do that, let's signal the entries first with the markers tools. So we start by copying the fast moving average with the copy indicator. So we select the indicator EMA, with a period of 34 in red color, and the slow EMA with a period of 50. So now we have the copied versions of the original EMAs into variable names, markers variable names, EMA 34 and EMA 50. Now we can use the copied line versions as the original, so we can remove the original because we don't need them anymore. Now that we are using the copy versions of the lines, we can detect crossovers between those lines with the crossover indicator between the variable names that we have assigned, like for example EMA 34 and EMA 50. At the top we can see that we have an input parameter, a threshold, which is set to 0. Now we see which is the effect of using a 0. On this place we have an example where we have noise. We have an up, down and up signal again. If we make a zoom, we can see that the red line is almost above the blue line by only a 0.01, 0.32 against 0.31. So we have a fake up signal, then again a short signal, and finally a long signal again. To avoid that problem, it is easier if we look at the histogram. On the histogram we can see the difference between both lines. If we make a zoom, we can see that the histogram is negative because the red line is below the blue line. Then it is positive, but positive with a very small number, 0.0005. So if we want to avoid that, we can use a threshold bigger than that value. On the crossover indicator, on the threshold input parameter, we can set instead of 0.005, we can use twice the value, 0.01. So now we can see that even being positive, it doesn't change color because the threshold of 0.01 was not touched. So it is not triggering crossover. And the result is that we only keep the last long signal and avoid the two fake signals that we had previously. So one way to avoid this noise is using a threshold of at least 1/10 of the tick value. That will be the minimum. The bigger the threshold, also the bigger the delay that we get on the signals. Now we can check which are the entries for our signals. The arrows paint where are the signals, and now we must take into account the close of that signal. So this is the place where we may have a fill. On this signal, the close is at the top of the move, so it is probably a loser unless we have a big stop. So it is very difficult. This trade can be positive. And now all depends on the periods that we choose for the moving average. We can try using different values by changing the value of the period of the moving average. Let's say that we go again to the fast version. On the fast, we go back to 8, and for the slow we go to 17. Now we have these signals, and again we need to check where is the close on that bar, on those bars, to have an idea where the entry will have a fill. This long signal has a close here, so we have an entry on this place, and for the short the close of that bar is here. Here we have a long, so this long now is early at the close of the bar, and here we have a fake short. Maybe we can avoid it using a bigger threshold, a threshold bigger than 1.52. The entry for that signal is at the close, and then we have a long signal here. This last short is a loser. Maybe that one is also a loser, unless we have a big enough stop. And now we can try increasing the threshold so we can avoid that fake signal. Let's say that we can use a threshold of 1.52 or 1.6. Nothing changes with 1, with 1.6. Now it filters out that trade. 55 also filters out, and so the value is 1.6. Let's use 2, so we round up the threshold. And now we don't have the loser signal. We also don't have the following long signal, but now we must take into account how the other signals are changed. We have a delay on 1 bar on this long. On this short, the entry is delayed 2 bars. This long has a delay of 1 bar, but it is better because now our stop doesn't need to be so big. We are talking about 14 ticks. And this short is delayed 1 bar. Now we could test how this works with the market replay if we automate the signals. So we can enable Jeopardizing to select an ATM with a small target and stop, at least 15 ticks of stop and 10 of target, and automate the setup with Marker Plus. We set the long signals with arrows in color green, and for the shorts it is orange red. the replay account, and now we go back to this is too early, maybe something around 11:30. So now we enable the longs, the shorts in automatic mode with the ATM that we have selected on Charttrader. We can increase the speed. Now we are just about to have a short signal. Here is the short signal painted.
Target filled.
And there was much more potential on that trade than what we traded. We may use a bigger target with a trailing stop or more positions with different targets in the middle. Now we may get a long signal as long as the threshold exceeds the level that we have set.
Target filled.
This signal had also much more potential that we traded. Now we may have a short signal, but this is the signal that we avoided because the threshold was not, the difference was not big enough to exceed the threshold. We are using a threshold of 2 points and the difference between two lines was only 1.56. So we don't have more signals until the end of the day now. Hope this video has been useful for your trade setups. As you see, it is very easy. We only need to use 2 moving average. It is not necessary to use exponential moving average. We can use any type of line. Simple moving average, linear regressions, whatever. If you have any question, please post below this video. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.